Hi, welcome. I'm Sarah D.
I'm Dr. D.
Today we're going to start a little differently, or we're going to start this way. Oh, we're number 110, 109. Ugh. I think we're 109. We might be 110 though. Got to get that straight. It's a number thing. I love numbers. Just kidding. Okay, so there's a game called Clue.
There he is.
We've played that game before. haven't we?
Uh-huh.
I like to be Miss Scarlet. Who do you like to be?
Professor Plum.
Professor Plum. Isn't that fun? It's one of the games that we can play with our grandchildren that seems to work adequately,
Yes.
right?
They don't get too frustrated.
In fact, I'm the one who gets more frustrated because I have a hard time keeping track of all this stuff, right? It's like, how do you mark this? Anyway, so there's a way to learn, a way to win, or at least not feel confused about that game, right? There's a strategy that you use, right?
Yes, a pattern recognition strategy that I use.
And I don't use that pattern recognition strategy because it kind of confuses me. But what we're going to talk about today is not clue, but we're going to talk about CLIW, C-L-I-W. And it's something that Dr. Dudley has talked with me about several times to explain to me economic concepts that are the relationships between economic concepts, right? We've talked about this before.
In the personal finance arena.
In the personal finance arena. And everybody is involved in that, whether...
Most of us are personally financed.
Yes. and we're involved in it, whether we know how it works or not.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No.
In fact, you just recently took a rock out of your shoe. It was a really tiny one. I forgot to bring it.
I did take a rock out of my shoe.
No, it wasn't a rock that was this big.
No, it wasn't, nor was it flat and smooth.
No, it was crunchy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was crunchy.
And you had it in your shoe all day today?
Yes, I got it when we went out to go to church this morning.
That's so fun, isn't it? So
And I left it in my shoe all the way until
just a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
And you know, rocks in your shoe don't have favoritism. They aren't respecters of feet, so to speak.
No, they weren't respecters of my feet. No, not at all.
No. If it was in my shoe, it would have hurt me. If it was in your shoe. If it would have been in your shoe, it would have hurt you too. And if you were so young or so unaware in some fashion that what was causing the pain in your foot, you wouldn't know how to fix it.
Yeah.
So we today are going to give you a clue as to how to perhaps adjust the way you look at your personal finances so that you might have a better relationship with them, or at least be aware of the relationship you do have and know that, well, I have the rock in my shoe, so of course it's going to be this way. Or, oh wait, I can take this rock out. So we're going to learn how to take the rock out, correct?
Or put it in.
Or put it in. Or put it in. And it has
You
to
can do both.
You can do both. And we've done both. We've done both. And so it's, C is for what? Is it?
Consumption.
And what's L for?
Leisure.
Leisure. And what's I for?
Income.
And what is W for?
Wealth.
Okay.
Wealth.
Should we start with definitions of those words or
Okay.
tell what their relationship is first? Let's talk about
Let's talk
the
about what they
definition.
are.
Yeah, what are they?
Okay. So, consumption is anything that you use to make your life better. So, you cook up bacon to make your life better.
Okay.
You buy a rug to make your life better.
That's consumption.
That's all consumption.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
You get a car to make your life better. You buy tennis shoes to make your life better. We go down the whole list of things so consumption are things that we, as a general rule, purchase or make ourselves. Doesn't matter how we get them to make our life better.
And if we what?
We have gorgeous front walk stairs coming up the house.
We do.
To make our life better.
We do.
Yes.
And we made them.
We built them.
Yeah, we consumed cement and water.
We did buy the cement.
And we actually consumed your labor.
And your labor.
And actually my labor too.
Actually, Sarah D's an incredible cement finisher.
It's like frosting a cake.
Ooh, she's amazing. She is amazing. I can stir.
Yeah, he stirs really well.
She makes it look really good.
Well, it's passable. We're okay with it. I'm not. We're not taking I'm not giving out cards for doing that. No.
For cement work?
No. But it was fun.
She could actually make money doing it.
It was a COVID adventure, right?
It was a COVID adventure.
Yeah, we enjoyed that. So consumption is anything that you consume for your benefit.
That's the assumption, right? You're going to do it for your benefit.
Okay, we'll put that box on it because we know sometimes we consume things. That
No, that's still for your benefit, right? So sometimes you can
short term, long term.
Oh, yeah, see? So
Okay.
so sometimes you consume a cigarette and maybe it's got a cancer issue associated with it, but
Yeah.
there is some benefit that you gain from it, otherwise you wouldn't have done it at all.
There we go. There we go. Okay, so the next we talked about is leisure.
Yeah, leisure.
Okay.
We'll call that just chilling out.
Ooh.
Right? So that's easy. What is leisure?
Is this leisure?
No, this is work.
Whew, we're working.
Yeah, we're not engaged in leisure right now. We're engaged in work. Right? So
But you can enjoy your work, so it might even seem like leisure.
you can enjoy your work, but you can enjoy leisure more.
Interesting. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. So
We're setting the definition.
Right.
Whether you agree with the definition or not, these are the definitions for
Right.
the conversation, correct?
there we go. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so leisure is, say it again.
Leisure is like chilling out,
Chilling out, okay.
kicking back.
Okay. So income is,
Income is what you make when you work. Now, I know there are people going to talk about passive income and all that kind of stuff, but as a general rule, income is derived from working.
but some people work and don't get income. We're not talking about that either. Right?
Well, so we work directly for those steps.
We did directly work for that.
Yes.
And we didn't get,
We didn't get
Money.
income for it. No, we got consumption directly for it.
we did.
And so we'll talk about that. As a general rule, I use my income.
Income and consumption are related.
As a general rule, I use my income to purchase my consumption.
Okay, so we're gonna, can you
Oh.
keep to where we were?
I'll keep my head.
Okay, so this brings us to the quality of your relationships determines the quality of your life. So the quality of your relationship between, you said consumption and income?
Yeah, there's a relationship between consumption and income.
There's a relationship between consumption and income. The quality of the relationship between consumption and income is going to affect the quality of your life.
So as a general rule, why do we go to work? To earn income.
Yeah.
Right, I
yeah.
go to work to
Hopefully
get
you
paid a
enjoy it in
wage.
some fashion.
Right,
but-
so you prefer one that you enjoy to one that you don't enjoy.
Right,
But
but whether you enjoy it or not, you need to have a means of supporting yourself and your family.
So you go to work to generate income.
Correct.
And what are you actually sacrificing when you go to work?
When you go to work to get income, you are sacrificing leisure.
That's right.
So L-I.
Yeah. You sacrifice your leisure. You sell off your leisure time
Yep.
as labor to gain income. And what do you do with the income
Well,
so far?
you consume, right?
I
Let's
need
go to the movie.
I need food to stay alive. I need shelter so I don't freeze to death in the wintertime, right? So we go down the list of things that I mean, there are things that I need. There are things I just enjoy, like maybe I want a really pretty guitar. I always want pretty guitars.
I know you do. He's a real tech guy. I'm the musician, but he likes the equipment.
So I trade my leisure for income, and I trade my income for consumption.
You trade your income for consumption.
Yep.
You trade your leisure for
Income.
Wealth.
No,
Oh, wait.
I trade my leisure. I give up my leisure and go to work and get income. And I take that income and I give it up and I buy consumption.
Okay, so we got that much so far. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Now we have a wealth thing over here. We
Uh-huh.
need to find that as well.
Yeah.
Okay. How do we do that?
Well, wealth is also a very simple. So wealth is complicated to understand in its length, but the first shot at it is that I sacrifice consumption.
Consumption is longer though.
No, I sacrifice consumption. Oh,
Word.
I sacrifice consumption. That is, I give up leisure, I gain income. I spend my income on consumption. If I don't spend it all, I have savings. And that savings will accumulate up to become wealth.
It can.
It can. So if I choose not to consume all of my income, if I sacrifice consumption, I will gain wealth.
So if you don't sacrifice consumption, does it go the other way that you won't accumulate wealth if you don't
Yep,
sacrifice
that's the way.
any
That's the way
consumption?
that works. Yes.
So if you spend everything, well, If you spend everything you earn, all of your income, on consumption, you will not generate wealth.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful thing.
Is that like the rock in your shoe? If you leave it in there, it's going to keep hurting?
Yeah, absolutely.
You wouldn't want it to keep hurting, and if you didn't know why it was that way, but now you'll know. If you want to create wealth, you're going to have to sacrifice consumption. So would this be right? I was trying to do this ahead of time to see if I understood it, kind of. I think I do. So far, so good, right?
Yes.
The cost of taking leisure is?
Income. Yes, absolutely.
The cost of consumption is? That's
I give up wealth.
That's
Yes.
the relationship, and the quality of your relationships determine the quality
Absolutely.
of your life. If you're not happy with the quality of your life in people, it's the relationship you're developing, you're working through, you're willing to have those difficult conversations, or you're not, and you just build up all this resentment, or you are able to say, hey, there's a problem here. I'm having too much leisure, which I love, but oh, garbage. I'm not getting the income I need. Oh, darn it, I'm spending it all. My 401k has nothing in it. It's not. Is that?
No, but my belly does have lots and lots of chocolate covered marshmallow bunnies.
That's right.
That's good consumption.
That's good. Well, we have to.
I highly recommend it.
And they're coming up. Watch out.
They are coming up.
Okay, so we got this far. That's so far so good, right?
Yes.
All right. So we did the definitions. Should we do the definitions again, or is that too redundant?
I don't know. I think it's pretty redundant, but that's okay.
Well, of course, it's easy for you.
Okay.
Okay. Will you go through this one more time?
So I come into life with time, right?
Everyone has the same amount.
I have time, and I'm endowed with the same number of hours in every day.
Yes.
The same as everyone else.
Yes.
So the gift is I can consume 24 hours a day of leisure. The problem with that is that I starve to death.
So you call this leisure consumption as well. Isn't that interesting?
Yes. So I can use up all my time in leisure. I can consume all my time in leisure.
Yeah, I know. I'm seeing it.
Or
Seeing the relationship.
Or I can take some of that leisure time and I can do work. So the work could be I go work for somebody else, which is fine. Or the work could be I go around and I gather up berries and I find grains of wheat, and right. So it doesn't matter what the work is. I'm going to engage in work to generate something that comes into my life that wasn't there before. Income. Now that income can be dollars.
You're going to sacrifice leisure to make.
I've got to sacrifice leisure. I have to give up leisure and apply it towards work. That work can either pay me income in dollars or can pay me income in things. Doesn't matter how it gives me income. It gives me income in dollars, it gives me income in things. I can then consume those things, or I can spend those dollars on things that I can consume. Either way is the same. So I work to generate income. I can consume all of that and then just keep that process going.
And then this doesn't exist.
That's right.
Wealth will not be in your
That's right.
relationship equation.
I will take leisure. I will sacrifice some of my leisure to do some laborious task. That laborious task is going to give me the consumption, is going to give me some form of income, which I can use for my consumption. I can completely consume it. If I do that, if I stay in these three, I'm always there.
So we need to define what wealth is. What is wealth? I mean, some people say wealth and income, or wealth and rich. Wealth and being rich is the same thing.
Rich is having income.
Rich is having income.
Right?
Okay.
Rich is having income, right? So when you think about somebody being rich, you think of somebody of having a lot of income.
And
right?
you know they have a lot of income even if you don't know them, because they have the flashy cars and the flashy houses and the flashy clothes and etc.
Well,
That
yes,
how you know
so
they're rich.
One of the ways
They
to
look
tell
rich.
whether somebody has income is do they spend? I mean, that's the only way you can tell, right? So if
They could be charging it off.
if this doesn't exist, well, no, they can't.
Okay. Well, it would look like they're rich.
Yes, but charging it all has
Oh, yeah,
a wealth
I-
component associated with it. It's the antithesis of saving.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
No,
so-
I know. Yeah.
So right now we're not worried about that side at all.
Not at all.
So all I do is I work, I give up leisure, I work, I generate income, and I consume it. And I keep in this cycle. Somebody who either sacrifices a lot of leisure to generate a lot of work, to generate a lot of income, can have a lot of consumption. right? And so there's also a third activity that we're not going to really talk about here. And that third activity is something that you call
things in a model.
right. And that third activity is something that we call human capital. That is, I can make my work more effective by spending time training myself. So technically, I can sacrifice leisure for work, or I can sacrifice leisure to make myself better at work.
Right.
Right. So technically, we do those two things.
So we'll talk about that when we talk about investments and.
We'll talk about that when we talk about that kind of stuff. Okay. But right now, so let's just say I sacrifice my leisure to generate income. I have 24 hours. If I work 16 hours, I will have more income than somebody who works 12 hours. I'll have more income than somebody who works 4 hours. I gain satisfaction.
Even if you're working at minimum wage.
Yes. I gain satisfaction from my consumption and from my leisure. Right?
And if you're working 16 hours, you don't have as much leisure and you don't have as much time for consumption. So it might be even more likely that you
have less satisfaction, right? So it's not easy to look. It's not easy to look at somebody. So somebody who has a lot of income may not have more satisfaction than somebody who has less income. We don't know that because in order to get the more income, they had to sacrifice leisure, and leisure led into that satisfied feeling, right? So sitting back and being able to being able to watch a lovely sunset generates you with incredible feelings of satisfaction. The ability to sit back and get closer to your God gives you lots of satisfaction. Sitting back and stirring cement.
I got some cute pictures though.
Not so much satisfaction. It does give you sore muscles. I can tell you that for a fact. Mm-hmm. Not so much satisfaction. So it's not clear that even though my income is higher than somebody who didn't do that my satisfaction is higher. We can tell that I have more consumption.
Although the stairs are kind of satisfying.
Right. I have more consumption.
Oh, yeah. We can see the stairs every time we use them.
Every time we walk up them.
Yeah,
yes.
That's right.
Okay.
So, now we've got to...
So, now the thing is that I don't want... We oftentimes talk about people's wealth and people's income and conflate these two ideas.
We think they're the same thing.
We think they're the same thing, and they're not, right? Because income or rich income is a representation of sacrificed leisure. The way I generated wealth, though, is that when I had the opportunity to consume, I chose not to. And instead of consuming, I invested. And here we could talk about I invest in my own personal skills to make myself better.
So that your time can pay you more money.
So my time can pay me more money. Mm-hmm. Or I just put it in some savings vehicle.
Some people buy houses. Some people use the stock market.
Yep. Some people use the bond market. Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly.
Some people use Bitcoin, and who knows, we hope they...
I hope they don't get hurt too bad. Yeah. Right. So I take some of that income and I choose not to consume with it. And what I do instead is I generate wealth. So wealth represents savings, which are foregone consumption. I chose not to consume today. And the really cool thing about savings is this and so this is what some people talk about when they talk about
income?
Yeah. Passive income.
Right.
Income that comes to you without physically engaging in labor and without physically giving up leisure.
It's because of something you've foregone and done before, though. It's
right.
It's like planting the seeds and then it's growing all by itself.
That's right. I don't get it for nothing, right?
No, you had to plan,
I had to plant the seeds, mm-hmm. and I had to plant the seeds in fertile soil, and all of that stuff. Yes, absolutely. So I take some of my income, and part of it I consume with, and part of it I save. And just for the sake of simplicity, let's say we put it into the stock market. Mm-hmm. And to make it really, really easy, we put it into something that we'll call a that's upside down.
I'm not going to show it. Actually, this is just a sorry.
Oh, it's just a backer.
That's a
Okay,
backer.
right. So just for the sake of argument, let's say we put it into something called an S&P 500 index fund or any other thing that says S&P 500 fund. And I'm not saying S&P 500 is important in any ways, just that I know some numbers with it, so it makes it easy to talk about.
It's just the relationship between.
It's just a relationship.
We're talking about the relationship between whether you're consuming, whether you're in,
Right.
saving, whether
Right.
you're,
So what I'm doing
Right.
is I'm taking some of my income and I'm, in a sense, giving it to companies so they can make themselves bigger, in a sense. Or I'm buying a portion of a company so I get a share of their profits. Right? Those are the things that I'm doing with it when I'm putting my money into these stock funds.
they're not investment vehicles; they are
Well,
savings vehicles. We're not going to get that.
We're not going to get into that argument. Okay, so I put it in there. What's really cool about the S&P 500 is across the last 100 years, it grows at somewhere between 10 and 11% a year on average. Now, this year it's down. It's grown negative 6 or 7% right now.
Last year at this time, it had done the same thing, correct?
Last year at this time, it actually had gone down by about 25%.
Whew. And
Well,
then,
maybe not quite 25%.
and then by
maybe.
the end of the year, it was up by.
About 25%, yeah. Up
So-
total from where it started, yes.
So like
50% above.
from
yeah.
the low.
Yeah.
Wow. And so the average is definitely not the year to year, but it's something that is kind of consistent in some fashions, sort of like the seasons.
Yes, we're like the seasons, yeah. So it's something to pay
Some
attention
variation, but it's not, something so that you can know whether, well, okay, listen, I'm going to make this investment. I'm going to put money here.
I'm going to have savings.
I'm going to have savings, and I don't know for sure what the return is going to be, but I'm going to keep it there no matter what, even though it goes down. Because if it goes down and you sell, then it's not anyway.
Now, the exciting thing about interest
Uh-huh.
is that interest compounds upon itself. So if I put something in my savings account, and let's say I put $100 in my savings account, and it pays 10% interest in a year. That means next year, what is in my savings account will have a balance value of $110.
Okay.
And then a year later, it will have a balance value of $121. And then a year later, it will, $121. And it will keep compounding upon itself. And approximately every 7 years, it doubles in value.
Even though the stock market itself goes up,
Up and down, on average, it doubles every
well, what
7
was
years.
it, 10 or 11%?
10 or 11%, 10%. If it pays a return of 10%, every 7 years, approximately,
Oh, it doubles.
it
Oh,
doubles.
that's right.
The value of your savings doubles.
Gotcha. That's why there's. Okay, thank you. I understand.
So let's think about this. Let's pretend like I am 22 years old.
Okay.
And
Oh, you look so cute.
I look so cute. And I put $100 in savings.
Okay.
Let's just say I do that.
All right.
So I put $100 in savings. 7 years later, it's worth what? It's doubled.
100. It'd be 200.
$200, right? So now at the age of 29, it's now worth $200.
Wow. Could go to dinner.
Could go to dinner. Say I leave it in for another 7 years.
Oh, you'd have 400.
$400. How much have I put in?
You put in 100.
And now it's
400.
14 years later, right? Which is
yeah.
14 years later, right? So 14 years later, it's now
Right.
a whole $400.
It doesn't seem very impressive at first at all.
Okay, so that's
But
two
you have to
times
go through
in.
the not
2 times in.
impressive
How old
to
am I
impressive.
at 14 years from 22?
14 years from 22.
I'm 36.
Yes.
Okay,
That's,
and in another 7 years, what happens?
in another 7 years from 36.
Yeah, how old am I?
36. You're going to be 4 and 3. It's going to be 43.
43. I'll be 43.
I'm getting there.
And it will now be how much?
When you're 43, Was it 400 last time?
It was 400 last time.
It'd be 800.
Okay, and then I leave it in for another 7 years. Now I'm 50.
Thank you. So you're 50. Okay. So we were at 800, so 1600.
Yeah, and
That's 1,600.
yes,
For
those
same.
those know. So when I'm 57,
okay, so when you're golly geez, you know I love
3,200.
numbers. I love numbers.
3,000,
3,200.
and
You put in 100. That's all you put in.
that's all I put in.
But
And
it hasn't. I mean, still 3,000 is not going to do that much. You're how
7 years later, it's
But you're 50-some years old.
yeah.
3,000 isn't that much. I mean, you might not even be able to make your rent payment for that.
Well, let's keep thinking about
Okay.
this. Okay, and then
So by the time,
and now we go 3 years later from 57 to 64.
okay, from 57 to 64, you have another
6,000.
6,000. It was 3,000 what?
It's 3,200.
Okay, so it's 6,400.
6,400. Okay, let's say I just put away $100 a month when I was 22. Just
That would give you $6,000 when you're older.
the first month, I've got 6,400.
What?
That $100 became 6,400 for January. And let's say I saved it again on. I did it again on February.
Oh, you put 100 in another month.
Month. Wow.
Oh, this is getting confusing. I didn't write any of this down.
No, now all of a sudden I'm at $12,000. $12,800. And if I do another month, and another month, and another month, and another month, and then right now all of a sudden I've got more than $60,000. I've got almost $75,000 by just saving $100 a month when I was 22.
And when you're 22, sometimes you're still living at home,
Right?
which I'm just implying.
And just think about
perhaps
that.
You could spare.
What? How? Do you think somebody with $70,000 in savings is wealthy?
No.
Not terribly wealthy, no. But let's say they did it for 2 or 3 or 4 years in a row.
Of putting that $100 in every month.
Yeah,
Yeah. It definitely adds up.
yeah.
I think Warren Buffett started saving in the stock market when he was 17.
Yeah, that's the idea, right? So the idea is to
Start early.
Start early. It's better if you start early. Because guess what? If instead of starting at the age of 22, you waited until you were 29, you don't have
You don't have that first.
6,400.
No.
You have 3,200. You don't lose the first doubling, you get that regardless. You lose the last one, which is the big one. So starting early is the secret. The secret to wealth
Generating wealth.
is saving early.
Yes.
Now, what's the problem with saving early?
Well, you have to have a relationship with consumption. It has to do with this.
It has to do with this. It really does.
Will you set it up?
Okay, so I have a question. Is it easier to save money if you have a lot of income or a little bit of income?
It's easier if you have a lot because
That's absolutely what everybody believes. It's easier if you have a lot.
I remember when we were learning about personal finance. This is before he was an economist, and we were trying to figure out how to make ends meet because they weren't meeting for a long time. And one of the things there was a worksheet. It said, okay, how much do you spend on entertainment? How much do you spend on clothes? It's like, what? Entertainment? Clothes? What are you talking? What? If we had enough money for that, I wouldn't need this. So yeah, young and uninformed, you don't know.
Right. You don't know. It's
You don't-
hard.
And you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't.
You don't know you're
You
actually
don't know
putting
that
that
you
money
don't
in
you don't know that you're giving up waiting. You don't know that waiting 7 years
Yeah.
to save that $100
It's gonna
is
cost
actually
you
costing you
a lot.
3,200. You're losing half of the value that you could have had.
Yeah.
You don't recognize how costly it really is. Now the deal is that is it easy to save $100 when you're 22?
Well, hypothetically, if all of your needs are being met, maybe, but
So let's say you're making-
maybe it isn't. Maybe
let's-
it isn't easy.
Let's say you're
Maybe-
making $15 an hour.
Yeah, maybe you have to go. Maybe you have to go with shoes that are not new. Maybe you buy them secondhand, or maybe you buy clothes secondhand, or whatever.
Or you buy them on they aren't name brand.
Yeah, yeah,
I love Walmart.
yeah.
I love Walmart.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
I love Walmart. Walmart's great. Because if you save $2 at Walmart, if you spend $2 less at Walmart, that's $2 you can save. Mm-hmm. Don't know what to say. But here's the deal. If you make $15 an hour, and let's say you work 40 hours a week.
Okay.
So how much is your income? 4 times 15 is 60.
Thank
Times
you.
10 is 600.
It's 600.
Right? 600.
Just came into my head.
600 a week, right? And so let's say that you work 4 weeks in a month.
Mm-hmm.
6 times 4 is
24.
and 2 more zeros at the end.
2,400.
So you're making 2,400. So you're making 2,400. And let's say that so how are you going to save that $100 a month when you only make 2,400 a month? Right? So you make 2,400 a month. The government is going to take Social Security taxes, and they're going to take Medicare taxes, and they're going to take income taxes, and they're going to take, all sorts of taxes out. So that's going to drive it down.
But if your company will put stuff away for you, that's easier. Then you don't see it at least.
But oftentimes when you're in a minimum wage job, you don't get that. You don't get profit sharing and all that kind of stuff. And so it's all on you. It's all on you to get that.
You've got to be the adult.
Yeah, so
You've got to be the grown-up.
So you're looking and you're going, well, if I rent a 2-bedroom apartment, that's going to cost me, a crappy one's going to cost me $1,500 a month. But if I got a 2-bedroom apartment, maybe it's not a bad idea to have a buddy in the other bedroom.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sacrificing consumption. I could have had that second bedroom all for myself. But now I don't. I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment, shared with my buddy. If it only has 1 bathroom, sometimes we get in fights.
Yeah.
Right? So I've sacrificed some consumption, but now I can save that $100. Maybe I go out to dinner 1 fewer time a week. Maybe I pack my lunch instead of buy my lunch. Maybe, right? So we go down the list of things.
Okay, so here's a quick little story. We're just about done though, right?
Oh, we're good.
Okay, because we're already at 30.
Yes.
Are we at 30? So, yeah.
33.
What we did when we had, I think I was pregnant with our first child. The thing that we did for fun was maybe every once in a while we'd walk to the mall and walk through the mall, window shopping.
Because we could afford looking.
And then there was a health food store that you could get yogurt push-ups for 35 cents a piece. And so we would spend 70 cents. It was our big date.
Yeah, it was our big...
And that was a splurge. No, we did not walk to school, snow, up, barefoot, all that kind of stuff.
No, that was my parents'
We
generation.
really did do that. That was our parents' generation. So have we covered it pretty good?
Yeah, we've covered. What is wealth and where does it come from? It's sacrificed consumption. Savings is what generates wealth. That's the only way you get wealth is save. Well, you can win the lottery, but that's an accidental thing.
We could even talk about that, what happens to people who win the lottery. They don't keep their money because they don't know how to have it generate wealth.
The only way to get wealth is to save.
Because if you're in the habit of using your money only to consume, you're not going to be.
If you see somebody who's wealthy, what have they done?
They have sacrificed their leisure.
They have sacrificed consumption and they have sacrificed leisure.
Yep.
They've sacrificed leisure to gain income and they've sacrificed consumption to gain wealth.
Da-ba-da-da-da-da.
Yep, that's exactly what they did. That's the only way to get there. We can talk about generational wealth and the 3 people that got it from their parents.
Well, we can do that maybe next time.
But for the rest of the universe that gets it, they get it the old-fashioned way.
Yep. We have to make the sacrifice.
We have to make the sacrifice.
A lot of sacrifice. Well, we would like to thank you for joining us in this economic conversation. And thank you for letting me drop some little visual aids.
Uh-huh.
And for letting them help work. They helped a lot, right? Anyway. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. I hope we see you next week. I am Sarah D.
I'm Dr. D. Namaste.
Make it a great day. Will you get it?